Welcome to ALP Corner, Family Law in the Heart of Houston.
Hello and welcome to ALP Corner, Family Law in the Heart of Houston with attorney Allecia Pottinger, CEO of ALP Law Firm. For more than 25 years, Allecia has helped Texans protect their families and their financial futures through divorce, custody, and complex property cases. My name is Kevin Rosenquist, and today we're unpacking what happens when a spouse hides money and how Texas law will uncover the truth. Allecia, welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
All right, it's a spicy one, huh?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So when your client comes to you and says, "Hey, I think my spouse might be hiding money," what are some of the signs that you're looking for?
I am looking for large sums of cash disappearing.
Okay.
That is, you can always follow the cash. The cash won't lie. And the cash has trails and electronic, means that if there's a large deposit made, where'd the money come from? If there's a large deduction from the account, where did the money go?
Mm-hmm.
All the above can be true, so
Mm-hmm.
and there's a way. That's why they have forensic count, that there's a way to find out.
Is financial deception common in divorce?
Actually, it is. You have one side that's playing it close to the vest, and the other side is um, just not having it,
Yeah.
and they kind of know. But then sometimes you have cases where the parties just didn't share in the financial um,
Management.
economy of the marriage.
Yeah.
They just didn't participate. They weren't involved. They didn't know how the house operated, and that's where you run into a big issue. So if I were to advise somebody, I would say, if nothing else, touch bases once a month or quarter or whatever, just to get a handle on what's happening with the household finance, because it may not be a divorce. It could be someone ends up dying and passing away, and you wouldn't know what was going on. So it's important.
Yeah, and I think it's common for couples to divvy up the responsibilities. Like
Mhm.
my wife and I, we have a kid, and we have different just roles that we just play. It just kind of goes that direction, and I typically handle the financial stuff, and it's not for any reason other than that I'm just a very organized person and I can get everything done, and that's fine. And
Mhm.
but I suppose that but and that's all fine and good until there's a divorce or there's something like that, and then one,
Mhm.
especially if a lot of money's involved, one person is just like totally clueless about where everything is.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's why I said, you just stay in touch just a little
Yeah.
bit. You don't have to know the day to day check writing and whatever. Just have some, just touch bases every once in a while, so that you have some idea of what's going on.
You
Definitely.
mentioned forensic accountants before. We've talked about that in the past. In
Mhm.
Texas, what tools does the law give attorneys to uncover hidden assets besides the forensic accountants, so their discovery subpoenas, what have you?
Mhm. Though those are it. Pretty much discovery is the wherewithal. Sometimes people even will use private investigators. You never know what ends up tipping off somebody with respect to hidden money, so to speak. Um, One time, I believe it was the brother's wife tipped off the other wife that the brother was hiding money and assets. So it normally comes out. You hear that old adage, "What's done in the dark will come to light." And so it ends up, God, just the universe just opens up, and there's a window or light at the end of the tunnel.
Hmm. How does Texas treat situations where one spouse deliberately conceals assets or lies on their financial disclosures?
uh, very badly. At that particular point, what ends up happening is that person is looked upon throughout the entire process now as being a fraud.
Yeah.
And when you're a fraud, everything that comes out of your mouth is considered a lie, and no one trusts you or believes you, and that doesn't work very well when you're in court and you're asking to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And so judges frown on that, and a lot of times people lie and get caught, and they think that they're really doing themselves a favor, and they're doing themselves a disservice at that particular point. So judges do not like people lying. It's
Yeah.
just inappropriate. Well, normal people, good, wholesome, common, everyday people don't like liars,
Yeah.
period.
True. It's very true. So, what are the legal consequences? Can a spouse face penalties or sanctions for intentionally hiding assets?
Correct. Yes. There's a couple of things that can happen. Um, the other spouse can get a disproportionate share of the community in this divorce because of the hidden assets. There's been things like awarding the other party the assets that may not have been disclosed. That's another way that you can, people all of a sudden hurry up and come and disclose stuff because they, now they understand that 100,000 that they had hidden now becomes the property of the other spouse that they were trying to hide from. So there's
Hmm.
a few things that can be done. Also, too, there's a little caveat in a lot of the divorce decrees that will say any undivided assets are still entitled to be divided in the future.
Okay.
So, two
And
ways.
going back to the forensic accountants, for listeners who may not understand what tracing is or how it works, can you explain how attorneys sort of follow the money through multiple accounts or investments?
Yes, we leave that to the forensic accountants, but bottom line, what you're looking for and what ends up happening most often is that you're tracing cash from account to account. They're normally, you have Zelles, you have Cash Apps, you have Venmos, you have, and their money is being traded in and out of these accounts. Well, oftentimes money is coming from somewhere and money is going somewhere. And that's how you find out that there's these hidden accounts because the money didn't just poof, just all of a sudden materialize. It came from somewhere, and it doesn't just vanish. A lot of times it has to be spent. You should have something to show for the money that you this large expenditure, this large withdrawal from the account. You should have something to show for it, and typically they don't.
Well, I remember for years it's always like you heard about the Swiss bank accounts or the offshore accounts or things like that. Now you've got cryptocurrency. Some people will move money into family businesses. With some of this stuff, I mean, crypto can be really complicated to trace, and because it's the idea of it is that it's private. How realistic is it to recover these assets?
Well, it can be done, and that's why forensic accountants are good, and also crypto persons that are in the business and understand it. You still have to have money to buy crypto.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
always follow the cash. You follow the cash. That money had to go somewhere, and that money purchased crypto. And so that's how you're going to trace. It's supposed to be, um, non-traceable, that type of thing. But you're going to find some accounts going to um, what's the crypto? I'm trying to think. Oh, I can't think of the most major, crypto thing that um,
Oh, there's like Coinbase, and there's
thank
like,
you.
yeah,
Thank
yeah, there's
you.
some of the bigger ones.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. You will see some transfers going there. That's going to give you some indication that the money is somewhere. And that if you can't come up with any documentation at that point of what you have, then it's wide open for the other side to make it up,
Hmm.
and say, he has $100,000. What can you say at that particular point? Because you haven't brought forth the evidence to show that's not what you have.
Hmm.
So you have to, it's a double-edged sword when you start hiding money, um, thinking that you're doing yourself a favor. It never works out, never pans out.
Yeah, it's interesting because I asked you earlier if it's common. You said yes, and I just feel like it's something that is seems obvious that in this day and age it'd be really hard to hide that stuff. I mean, maybe 25, 30 years ago it would have been different before you had such an electronic paper trail of everything. But I guess people just think they can outsmart the system, huh?
Exactly, that they're the smartest one in the room, and they believe that they are going to, get by.
So if you're representing someone in a divorce and they come to you for the first time and you start talking about the money and they say, I have no clue. I have no clue anything about our financial stuff. I know we have money, but I don't know what it is or where it is. What is your first step in that scenario?
Discovery.
Hmm.
I'm going to send to the other side, what we call request for production. And what I'm looking for is I'm looking for bank accounts, savings accounts, retirement accounts, crypto accounts. I'm even looking for travel mileage. You name it, I'm looking for it. Because, or even credit card rewards, because those
Oh
have
yeah,
some value too.
sure.
I'm looking for everything. So I'm not only looking for the bank accounts, but I'm also looking at credit card expenses and where those lead to and what are those charges. So typically if I on the first round, it's going to give me some idea where the money is being held, and we can go from there.
Do you feel like a lot of times the spouse in the dark, quote unquote, is knows that something is out there, or they just, or a lot of times if they don't have any access to it, they're just not really sure at all?
The most of the time, if they haven't done anything, they are clueless.
Yeah.
They are clueless,
Hmm.
and you're like, can you help me? But they just, it was not part of their wheelhouse, and they just, I paid attention to the kids, or
Right.
I was paying attention to running the business, and I didn't, the household expenses. It just, it varies, but they most of the time they are clueless. Sometimes you have a person that may have a hunch, but
Hmm.
typically their hunch is based on something, you know, a conversation, a brag, a brag somewhere,
Hmm.
to a friend on the golf, on the green, at the ninth hole, that, really made a killing in crypto, or what, something like that, and it's overheard, and at that point you can find it. Where it gets harder is in those family businesses, where you get other people involved, in third party involved in helping to hide assets. But even that, you can still, um, that business can be subject to accounting, forensic accountants, to come in and kind of follow the money and do some tracing at that particular point, because of the um, potential for fraud.
So what do? They take household assets, money, and they put it into the business somehow.
Mhm.
just drop it into the account, or do they think that no one's going to look at the business?
That's it.
Oh, okay. That seems short-sighted to me. I mean, I'm not advocating for fraud or
Right.
the.
Yeah.
It seems like it's something that, like, obviously they're going to look at the business accounts, right?
Yes. But I, I didn't deposit it.
Okay.
That was my mom. My dad did it. That's
Hmm.
their money. I was paying them back for a loan that they gave me.
Yep. Yep. Just spin
Those
it
are
any way
some
they
of the
can.
stories that we get.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you try to help people recover information about the finances themselves, or would you, or once you're involved, do you say, "Hey, let me handle this. Let the forensic accountants handle this. Don't try to get into accounts and stuff like that."
No, any information you can obtain on your own goes a long way from your attorney fees going up and accounting fees going up. Anything that you could do to proactively help the discovery of accounts is very, very, very good.
Okay.
It,
Yeah.
it
So do as much as
never
you
will
can on
hurt
your
you.
own. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting stuff for sure. All right, well, that's it for today's episode of ALP Corner, Family Law in the Heart of Houston. If you'd like to learn more about attorney Allecia Pottinger and her work at ALP Law Firm, visit alplawfirm.com. There you're going to find some really helpful resources on Texas divorce, property division, and protecting your financial interests. Thanks for listening as always. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave us a review. Allecia, loved chatting with you today. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.